This is the JAFO Report.
Life on this West Coast teaches you that big things often arrive on quiet days. An earthquake drill on a sunny June morning. Or an alert on your phone about an active shooter in a tiny northern town you've barely thought about since grade 9 geography. This past Monday, February 8th, it was Tumbler Ridge, British Columbia, a community most of us associate with coal, dinosaurs, and long drives between gas stations. As reported in an RCMP update, an active shooter entered Tumbler Ridge Secondary School. By the time the police cleared the building, 9 victims were dead. Roughly 24 more were injured, with the suspect found dead from what appears to be a self-inflicted wound. BC Premier David Eby called it an unimaginable tragedy, and for once the political soundbite doesn't feel like spin. It's about as close as language gets when your brain just keeps saying, this shouldn't happen here. Canada has had school shootings before, but they're rare enough that each one becomes a kind of grim marker. École Polytechnique, Dawson College, La Loche, Edmonton, and now Tumbler Ridge. A Canadian study looking at school and campus mass shootings found most attackers were young men, almost all used firearms, and nearly half of the incidents ended in suicide. Statistically, this kind of violence is still far less common here in Canada than it is in the U.S., in part because of stricter gun laws and more limited access to certain types of firearms. But less common is cold comfort when it's your kid's classroom on the news. What's different this time is that police have identified the suspect as an 18-year-old trans woman, Jessie van Rutselaar, a local resident and former student with a history of mental health-related police visits. According to RCMP briefings, she died at the scene from a self-inflicted injury, and investigators still don't have a clear motive. That leaves a vacuum, and vacuums on social media don't stay empty for long. Part of what makes this so heartbreaking is that 2 of the victims were the shooter's own family. Her mother and 11-year-old stepbrother found dead at home before the school attack, as reported in CBC News. Friends say Jessie's mother had been supportive of her transition, trying everything she could amid her child's mental health struggles. According to the Globe and Mail, even with that parental love, the system failed everyone: family, classmates, and a shattered town. On the negative side, you can almost script the backlash. Some commentators will use Jessie's trans identity as a political cudgel, trying to spin one horrific act into proof that an entire community is dangerous or unstable. That's not analysis. That's opportunism. Ignoring the broader data that shows school shooters have overwhelmingly been cisgender males, and that mental distress, suicidal thinking, and access to guns are the recurring patterns. The risk is that already vulnerable trans kids, who are far more likely to be victims of bullying and self-harm than perpetrators of mass violence, will absorb another wave of suspicion and hate exactly the moment we should be wrapping them in support. But there are possible positive outcomes too, if we choose them. Maybe this pushes us to talk more honestly about youth mental health in small towns, where services are thin, stigma is thick, and driving 3 hours for counseling is a luxury. Maybe it forces a more nuanced conversation about how we cover these events. Less about sensational identity labels, more about patterns that we can actually fix. Isolation, untreated distress, and the pathways that let a teenager get to a school with a long gun and a modified handgun in the first place. Communities from Tumbler Ridge to Tsawwassen decide that unimaginable is no longer good enough and demand the unglamorous investments in mental health teams, threat assessment work, and gun safety enforcement to make the next one less likely. I appreciate you taking 5 minutes with the Boomer. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. Who am I, you ask? Just another friendly observer. Call me JAFO.
The JAFO Report.ca.
The JAFO Report is downloadable from wherever you get your podcasts from. That's the JAFO Report.ca. Life can be overwhelming, and sometimes we all need a moment to recharge. I initially discovered guided meditation back in my 40s, but neglected it until my heart attack in my 60s. Eventually, I started recording my own guided meditations, and now I'd like to share them with the public. Whether you prefer a simple, soothing voice or a rich experience by adding music with ambient sounds, the meditation sessions start at $4.20 each. The first 3 are free. Visit 420guidedmeditation.ca. That's the number 420guidedmeditation.ca. And start your journey to inner calm. Your path to peace is just a click away.